So let me start over again. This is let me have a sign here so I know where we're kind of starting. This is the official start here. So this is Empathy
Very
Circle.
sophisticated.
Yes, it is. High technology. This is Empathy Circle 1, September 15th. And so we're officially starting the circle now. And so what I wanted to start with is what our basic agreements for the circle are. And it's basically that we intend to foster empathy and try to create an empathic environment here in the group and contribute to building a movement for empathy and to expand empathy within ourselves, within the group, within our families, within the community, and the world at large. And on the flip side, we want to try to see what we can do to avoid the blocks to empathy. For example, judgment, attachment, advice giving, and analysis, self-righteousness, pity, interruptions, etc. So just kind of keep that in mind. um,
All of it.
all of it. Don't let it become too overwhelming. Think of the positive. It's easy. Just think of keep promoting empathy. That's kind of the vision here. So we want to start with a little bit of meditation with self empathy. So kind of get yourself comfortable. Relax. Maybe close your eyes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You guys are all frozen. I can hear you, but your pictures are all frozen.
It seems like that one of us should freeze our video or get rid of our video. She's having some download problems. Her upload is fine. Uh, so what do you think? I just cut my video off.
I would say since she's having a problem with the video, if you everything's working fine here, so maybe we could just leave it like that.
I'm just saying it could be the limits of her connection that is causing her a problem, not the, I mean, my video is fine too.
uh-huh.
My video is fine too, and I see you too, Shelley.
I see
Moving
Shelley.
and all.
Yeah, I see Shelley fine. It's very smooth.
Yeah,
It doesn't feel like
Okay.
it doesn't feel
she
like there's
waves.
I see me moving,
uh-huh.
and I
Uh-huh.
hear all three of you, and I see all three of you, but you're frozen.
One thing you can do is if you stop and start your video, that will sometimes kick it in as well. Just like stop the video and then start it again.
Okay, I'll try that. Hello? Everybody move. Nope.
We're moving. And we see you moving.
Okay. There's another thing we'll do is hanging up and then I can call you back. We can give that a try. Takes a second.
Okay, if you want to try.
Okay.
Empathy is about practicing patience.
Yeah, so we're practicing empathy under stress now.
Yay!
Empathy under technical stress.
I'm still tasting my fudge,
Uh,
my
No
brownie.
problems there.
and if you want to turn your video on, Shelley, then
Okay.
do you see us moving?
I do see you moving.
Well,
Ah.
there we go. So
Okay.
okay,
Get to it before it quits again.
yeah. So
Yeah,
well,
let's mirror.
let's get relaxed here. Feel inside your body. Maybe take some deep breaths. Kind of connect to yourself with self-empathy. Just go inside, feel through your body. What are the different feelings there? Maybe notice how the feelings are moving or shifting. And then connect with one of the feelings that's in your body. Maybe breathe into it, kind of feel it, see what it feels like, and then convert that feeling into a motion with your hand or a sound that you can share with the group. And then you can stop, and then you can open your eyes. That was a little fast, but probably could have gone a little longer. So what we want to do now is kind of do a little bit of a mirrored reflection of everybody's movement. And on my screen here, Thomas, you're on the left, so perhaps you could start with your movement, and we will all then mirror it.
Oh, this is already becoming a workout.
Okay. Lily, you're next.
I had something creeping up my arms, but then I felt I had an enormous stretch, so I had to really hug myself tightly like that, and then move to the side. It hurts. Does it hurt there too?
No,
No,
that's good.
feels
And
good.
Good for you.
and let us know when you've really felt like you've been reflected.
Not yet.
Yeah. When do you feel complete? When
Oh, I like the synchronicity of this. Oh, yeah, thank you.
Okay. And Shelley?
Okay, I did this. Can you see that okay?
Not.
Like that?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And you have to tell us when you feel totally reflected.
Oh, okay, let's see one more time, kids. Thomas, I didn't see yours. Okay, I feel reflected.
Okay.
Thank you.
Glad to hear that.
I think we need to add that confirmation part at the end there.
I agree.
So mine is like this, kind of flickering in front of the eyes.
Oh, that's nice also.
I think I'm trying to tap into a sound here. Okay, thank you. Okay, that was fun. Okay, so the next part is the reporting back, and I think it was Thomas that you had, the last time we met 2 weeks ago, that it was we had kind of focused on you. Is that right? So we want to kind of hear back, like any, actions that you did or anything that you would like to report back on how that went.
Well, the main thing that I was working on was one of my tendencies is to offer solutions. So whenever someone comes to me with a problem, then my job is to solve it, right? Right, Lily? I mean, that's what I did for you. And so I found myself doing it again. But the good news is I was aware of it, and I found myself beginning to do it a few times, and so I stopped doing it. It's a habit. And it's a male thing, too, Some people, if it's male to male, it's not too big a deal. But if male to woman, then it requires a different dynamic. So being sensitive to those different dynamics is important. And so I'm a work in progress. I cannot say that I have solved my problem.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I
But
am
it's
still
good
working on
news
it.
that you notice it, no?
Oh, that's good news.
And were you able to turn it into questions as well? I thought I remember that from last time.
Right. And on some occasions, but in other occasions, just listening, sometimes just saying nothing is useful. And so some people just want to be heard, and if that's all they want, then here I am.
Do you have a specific instance, anecdote of how that when you were conscious of it?
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not comfortable sharing.
Okay.
It involves other people, and I don't have their permission.
Okay. Then you kind of complete then with that
Yeah.
recounting. Okay, great. So what we want to try in this circle is a reflective listening process. And I had sent out a link, to some information about that we've been putting together. And what the process, so what we want to do in the time that we have now is, and this is kind of experimental, so it's something so to kind of keep that in mind. And we want to bring one topic into the circle, and I'm going to be bringing in the topic of of the relationship in the circle of openness and confidentiality. So that's what we want to explore. So in the circle, one person will speak, and then they will speak to someone else in the circle, and that person will reflect back what they hear. And then once the person who is speaking feels they're totally heard, then the person that they were speaking to will have a chance to speak, and they can direct their speaking to anyone in the circle. They can go back to the person that they were talking to or to anyone else, and that person will reflect what they're hearing, and then it will just keep kind of ping-ponging around like that. But the main thing is one person speaks, and you want to keep it, you want to give a little bit of a break so the person can reflect back. Because sometimes in the circle, someone would speak for like 5 minutes, and you got to go through a whole report to kind of reflect back. But give small bursts, of what's going on. Let the person reflect, kind of get caught up. Then you can continue, and then you'll be able to speak until you feel fully heard on the, for what you have to say at that moment. And so I will start speaking, and I will talk to Thomas in this case. Thomas will reflect back what he's hearing me say, and then Thomas can say, "Oh, do you feel heard?" And then once I feel fully heard, then I can kind of continue on, and then we'll just kind of keep ping-ponging back and forth like that. We'll kind of develop it as we go along too. So. So is there any questions about that? Yeah, it's pretty simple. So the topic is here, and I'm hearing a little typing in the background. So if you're like doing typing, you need to mute your audio, which is in the bottom of the window down here. Okay, and let's see, we have. Topic. Where'd that topic go? Okay, yeah, there we go. So the question I have is about how do we feel about confidentiality and openness. So that's kind of what I'd like to explore. And so I'd like to speak to you, Thomas. I'll be directing towards you. So I think this is a really great topic, and I'm really excited. Right now I feel quite excited about kind of exploring this, because I think it's a really important topic to kind of lay out the kind of the issues and the dynamics here for future circles, because I've noticed that in any kind of workshop that I've done, that this always comes up, the confidentiality part. So I'd really like to kind of lay out the different points of view, the different dynamics. So I'll give you a moment to reflect what you're hearing so far.
Well, what I hear you say, you're excited, first of all, about pursuing this topic, and that you want to uh, explore the issue of confidentiality and openness, and lay out what you see to be the various maybe positions or sides of the issue or views that others may have on the topic. It's come up in almost every session, I believe you said. So you sounded like you were really interested in exploring the topic fully, completely.
Yeah, that's
You
it.
feel heard.
Yeah, there's a little bit more I guess there's the dynamics. Is like I'm really interested in the dynamics as well. And then there's the other part that I was kind of feeling as you were saying that is I'm grateful that you were bringing it up as a topic because I know this was a topic that was that had some life and importance to you and that you had kind of brought it up. So I feel grateful that you brought it up.
So you are, there's a certain dynamic to it that you want to explore, and I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Could you say a little more about that?
Well, there was the second part. Yeah, there's two parts to it. There was one I just meant in terms of dynamics. There's a dynamic of I have me a question out. You had asked the question, and I felt a little stab with the question, in the sense that I was looking for a reflection, and I got a question, and I felt like So I wonder if you can reflect on that, what you just heard me say.
Well, I heard you say that I came back with a question when you were expecting a reflection, and then I asked you. I don't remember the question I asked other than do you feel heard, but there must have been a question before that.
Yeah, and then there was there was a little stab. I felt a little stab in my chest with that
Mhm.
question.
So you felt a stab in your chest. Which side?
I feel I feel another stab. It's like I heard another question. I feel another stab. I feel like I'm being jabbed. What are you hearing me say? What are you hearing me say?
I'm hearing you say that something about this interaction is not going well for you, and that I think it has to do with the fact that I may be listening to your words, but I'm not hearing what you're saying.
That's not quite it. It's that I felt I felt a jab.
Okay, you felt a jab.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. So, so it's
Sorry.
so yeah. So I'm feeling a little nervousness as well. I'm finding if I look inside my body, I feel a little bit of anxiety or something kind of happening now.
So so is it this topic? Well, I want to ask you a question. So it sounds like whatever's happening right now, whether it be the topic or whether it's the interaction, you're feeling some anxiety about.
Yeah, I kind of through my body here, kind of on this side of the body, I'm feeling some anxiety. So, but I'm just going to kind of breathe into it, kind of settle into it, and try to be present with it.
So you're going to breathe into it, settle into it, be present
Yeah,
with it.
yeah, that's it.
Let it happen.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really grateful for that. So, for me, so I just wanted to kind of bring one point out about openness. For me, openness is very important. I can understand that people don't want to share, but for the circle process itself, that for me, openness is a very important part of it. And the reason for that is it's for the education part of it. but I can also understand that some people might want, and have a sense of privacy, and that really, I understand that I can feel the dynamics there, and kind of really want to be able to hold all the different parts of it.
So openness is something that you value greatly. It's very important to you. It's maybe one of your core values, and it is something that you see as being very important for the for its educational value. Openness in and of itself has educational value for you, and that, well, that's about what I remember.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's educational value in terms of the circle.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, in the circle.
Yeah, but and I also understand. I also have a feeling for I can understand someone wanting confidentiality, that they both are, and I'm looking forward to exploring this topic with everyone.
So you understand that others may value confidentiality in certain situations, or just in general. You didn't say certain situations. And that you're really wanting to explore that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. I feel heard. Thank you. It's your turn.
Let me just ask a point of clarification about my role at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Am I to address the topic that we are speaking about, confidentiality, or your view of it?
We're addressing how you feel right now, and you can kind of go in any direction, whatever is kind of alive for you at the moment.
Well, I'm extremely comfortable.
And you would direct it to someone in the group. To me,
yeah.
To Lily or Shelley. So, and we need to just hear who you're directing it to, so they can reflect.
Okay, Lily, I'll direct it to you, and you look like a Rembrandt painting right now. That's good, right? Dutch, wasn't he Dutch? But anyway, the issue of confidentiality is perhaps has its roots in my legal background, where people came to me, and it was extremely important that things remain private and confidential. But in addition to that, I also value openness that Edwin's talking about. So it may be more a matter of degree rather than difference of opinion about openness. I value openness. I think openness is very important in any type of effort like we're doing.
So I look like a Rembrandt picture. And your interest or your concerns with confidentiality, not sure if I heard you well there, are coming from your legal background, where your contact with your clients, of course, has a confidentiality part to it. But at the same time, you also say that you value openness, and that openness also has a place. Do you feel hurt by that?
Yeah, do. Yeah, I don't think confidentiality and openness are contrary to one another. I think openness exists in a context. Are we going to be open for the whole world, or are we going to be open in the context of a group that has as its commitment confidentiality, for example? The four of us may agree. We will hold in confidence what is being said here. We will not share it with others. And yet within the group itself, we will be open, totally open, perhaps even more open than we would be if we were playing to a larger audience.
So you see that confidentiality and openness can also go together. They don't necessarily have to be two different directions. And you give as an example of being open within the group, where your openness can be maybe even further, taken further than which is possible when the group is also open to the whole world. So there
Right.
can be an additional degree of openness within the group process. Do I
Right.
hear you?
Yeah, yeah. And I can see how having an agreement of confidentiality can actually facilitate openness. That is, it can increase the amount of openness because we are confident and comfortable that the group will maintain our confidences or will hold what it hears in confidence. Whereas if even though I may have a value of broad openness, I may want to be open to the whole world. But if I know that anyone can watch this video, then even though I have a value of openness and I don't care what the world thinks, there may be some subconscious inhibition that I have about it, where that may go away if I'm comfortable within the context of our little group here, or even a larger group, but a group in which confidentiality is promised and committed to, if that makes sense.
Yes. Oh, that was long. That you see that openness could be. I'm not sure if I remember it well. I'll just say what I think I heard you say. That openness could be um, stronger, further explored, and promoted by the confidentiality that we agree upon within the group, and that this confidentiality that we agree upon together gives you the space and the confidence and the will and maybe the courage to explore complete openness together.
Yeah.
Is that?
And it could be even, we might be, and just to add to what you said, which I also think I said earlier, was if we have an agreement of confidentiality in the group, that might facilitate a greater openness than would exist if we had no such agreement.
Yes. If we have that agreement of confidentiality within the group, it might facilitate a greater, larger openness than if we wouldn't have that confidentiality.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Yeah, good.
My turn?
Or do you?
Yeah.
Are you fully heard? It would be just to give a sign that you're fully heard. Okay.
I love
Okay,
these Dutch women.
Shelley.
Okay, I'm ready.
Shelley.
Mm-hmm.
I feel very happy that I've been able to hear Thomas fully. It makes me sort of, my headaches almost disappear. You want to reflect on that?
Oh yeah, you're really glad that you've been able to reflect back to Thomas fully, and it's made your headache almost disappear.
Thank you. I also value privacy a lot, and I think that that privacy, I agree with Thomas that privacy and confidentiality within the group can open spaces or places where we go only because we feel that confidentiality or that privacy is taken care of within the four of us, the circle.
Okay, you agree with Thomas that you feel as though confidentiality and confidence, that it's taken care of, and that you feel more comfortable with being more open within the group, if you know that we are all kind of on the same page and in agreement that we're going to share those things confidently together. Was that close?
That was nice. I don't know if I said that, but I like it.
You wish you had, right?
Not word for word.
Yeah, what I meant,
It's like you've
what
been
um, I felt heard, but maybe I felt like you've been adding to what I said, or
Okay.
you explored something which I didn't have in mind, but which I might have been saying.
Okay, so maybe I didn't do a very good job. Maybe I'll get the next one better.
I'll try. What I didn't hear you say yet is um, is the space, the space that confidentiality is creating. So what I feel, that what I agree with Thomas with, is that this confidentiality is creating a certain space within the circle to explore fields or of ourselves or parts of ourselves which we haven't been facing yet.
I see. So you feel as though this group and the confidentiality that we have is creating a space, and the space, oh boy, the space is allowing room for more new things to be explored and experienced.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
But I also agree with Edwin on the educational value and also on the heart value of being open. And with heart value, I mean the vulnerability in being open, and the vulnerability in daring to share what we have to share, what we have to explore. Without this notion of, oh, who is watching me?
Okay, you said, I believe what you said is that you also important that we have openness and that we allow ourselves to feel somewhat vulnerable and not be afraid to feel somewhat vulnerable and share everything and be open and not worry about who might be watching.
Thank you. I feel fully heard.
Oh, really? Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so is it my turn now then? Okay, so since I know Thomas has to leave earliest, I'm going to go back to Thomas and pick on you. On the same topic, what I think anybody who might be viewing this down the road in 45 minutes or an hour from now would be thinking to themselves is, well, wait a minute, you guys. This is on YouTube. You're talking about confidentiality, talking about openness and vulnerability, and yet I'm watching you on YouTube. So, do you want to reflect back on that, Thomas?
Yeah, you're thinking, well, gosh, anyone who may be watching this after we finish will be thinking, you're talking about confidentiality, yet you're on YouTube. My goodness.
Right, yes. That's exactly what I was trying to say. So therein, I think, lies a bit of a dilemma in trying to find that balance. Because, well, I'm not going to talk about my social security number on here, knowing that this will be on YouTube. But I am willing to be, in the interest of expanding empathy and in the interest of encouraging others to be more empathetic, I am willing to probably be a little more open and a little more vulnerable, even knowing that people will be watching this on YouTube later, if it can in some way help other people to be more open and more empathetic.
So, from your own personal perspective, even though you know that it's going to be on YouTube, you are willing to stretch beyond what you might otherwise feel comfortable doing because of the educational value and share. You wouldn't share your social security number, which we're all disappointed about, but uh, the but you are willing to go beyond what you might normally do in a situation like this.
Well, not in a situation like this, maybe, but yeah, I would like to hear you say maybe just in the normal circumstances, I might not be as open and as vulnerable
I
with the
see.
four of you. If we were all just sitting around my dining room table and it was the first time we had met, I wouldn't be as open under those circumstances as I will be now, because there is a certain, there's a bit of a bond, and there's some, I don't feel like I really, really, really know any of you, but I do feel comfortable with all of you,
Right.
and I do feel as though I can be myself, and that I can trust you guys, and so, yeah, I think under these circumstances I can be more vulnerable than I would be under some other circumstances.
So, in this situation here, then you can feel that you can be more vulnerable, open, less inhibited to share yourself than you might be if we were all sitting around your dining room table for the first time, and that this environment here contributes, and the fact that we've been together, we've established some sort of bond, trust, and comfort level with one another. Helps you go beyond what the normal would be for you.
Right, even knowing that somebody's going to be watching this on YouTube later.
Uh-huh.
But I am going to stop short of certain things,
Sure.
like my social security number, probably my weight. But there is a lot of things I'd be willing to share.
So you're going to stop short, but there are a lot of things you are willing to share.
And I think we all will probably have to draw that line in a different place where we feel comfortable having that line be.
And we're all in a position to draw that line beyond which we won't go, and we'll all be in the same situation.
And I'm not sure that we can dictate to others where they should draw the line. I think that if people want to participate in the group, we have to respect wherever they have decided to put their boundary at.
So for you, it's a matter of respecting other people where they put themselves in the group and where they put their boundary. It's up to us to respect that in them.
I think that's important because I don't think that we can force somebody to be more open and more vulnerable than they want to be.
It's not up to us to force. We cannot force other people, and you said earlier, dictate to others how they should be open or not.
Yes, thank you.
Respect seems a very important value for you here.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is, but it's more just trying to determine how, because clearly there's no way to establish a way for us to all draw that line in the exact same place.
So you think respect is a value for you, but there's no way. We have to be open to where others draw that line because we can't draw it for them. We can't draw it for everyone in the group.
That's correct. Thank you, Thomas. I feel very well reflected upon.
My wife will be delighted.
So now it shifts to Thomas again, and he asks. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go to Edwin this
Whoever
time.
he wants. He can direct it to anybody he wants.
I think the point that Shelley raises and mentioned as somewhat important to her is important in any movement like we're trying to create, and that is the notion of respect. If each participant doesn't feel respected, and that has to do with listening as well, then it's going to be hard for people to be enthusiastic about the process. If we see it as mechanical, openness for the sake of openness rather than openness for the sake of furthering some cause, then it has a hollow ring to it for me.
Okay, so the part about respect was very important to you. To respect I guess it was respect where everyone is, and to build a movement that the movement is going to take kind of respecting where everyone is, kind of where they're coming from. And if we don't do that, it will have it has a hollow ring to it. The movement would have a hollow ring to it.
I think that's a correct reflection of what I was trying to say. I personally am beginning to see that there is a strong connection between empathy and respect, and that, for example, in my work, we talked about respecting the potential of other people, and that almost by definition has a element of empathy built into it. If I respect your potential, that means that I have some idea what's motivating you, what's in you, and I want to be able to nurture that quality in you. So I'm, in a sense, standing in your shoes, either mentally, physically, or emotionally, or maybe intuitively even, and I'm being able to help nurture your growth in that area. So I see openness being a first cousin to, or brother or sister to both respect and to empathy. Without openness, there would be no empathy, true empathy probably. But without respect, there would be no true empathy. Without altruism, there would be no true empathy in my view. So I'm seeing a connection between all of these wonderful values that once they are recognized and used, they will enrich each other.
Mm. So you're seeing a connection between empathy and respect, and also with empathy, respect, and openness, as well as altruism, and there's a relationship between them, and that they will kind of support each other in some way.
And I think that openness, for the sake of openness, is something that would not promote the empathy movement, because it would lay out a very daunting task for someone. Well, for example, let's say that someone just joined this group after we now have a history with one another, and we're saying to them, hey, openness is the rule by which we operate. We expect everyone here to be totally open. I think that could put some people off, others maybe not. But I think that only after there is an expression of empathy and respect for each other will the openness, they feed on one another. I am respectful of you by being open with you.
Okay.
I am establishing my capacity to be empathetic by being respectful of your potential and being respectful of your wish to either be open or not to be so open, either way.
Okay, so there was openness for openness sake. You're feeling, it seemed like uncomfortable with that it's a matter of respecting everyone, and that I think it's like that people are open as they feel they're comfortable with being open, and that respect kind of leads to respect, and empathy leads to empathy.
The only thing that I might change about what you just said was, which I thought was a good summary, was that I am not uncomfortable with openness for openness' sake. I just do not see it. I do not think that it is something useful for the movement. Trying to be objective about it. It has nothing to do with being comfortable or uncomfortable. It just seems from an objective standpoint that it could be something that could turn some people off before they become part of a community like we're developing amongst the four of us. Then they would maybe embrace it, once that has happened.
So it's like openness for openness' sake. You don't have anything against it, but that for the movement, if the movement says, "Oh, you must be open," that from a broader perspective, objectively, that it wouldn't be effective. It wouldn't be an effective way of organizing the movement. That openness, we have to be open. There's you're kind of forced to be open or something.
I think the average person who is interested in this topic, who is interested enough to come to one of these circles and participate, if there is exhibited to that person empathy and respect, and they see that it has an altruistic goal, which it does, that openness would flow from that without ever having to mention it.
So that people would become, where they would maybe join a circle, and that the openness would kind of flow. They wouldn't even have to talk about openness, whether it's an issue or not. The people would just like naturally come to their own level of openness. It will just kind of evolve on its own.
I believe that's a correct reflection, and I believe that to be the case. I believe that we would experience it. I think we've experienced it amongst this group here.
And within this group here, we've experienced that sense of openness, kind of a slow evolution, revealing of openness, kind of naturally or on its own.
Yeah, like Shelley said earlier, trust, a bond, all of these things have now developed here, and she said she feels less vulnerable, which means that she would be more open. So all of the things that she related are happening. And I think that would happen, and it would have happened even if we never mentioned the words vulnerability or openness.
So like Shelley said, that kind of just as trust gets developed, and then kind of an openness kind of evolves out of that trust. And we wouldn't even have brought it up as a topic. It would have just, the openness would have just kind of flowed on its own.
Right.
Do you feel fully heard? Okay. For me, when I was talking about openness, the part of I should choose somebody. Shelley. When I'm talking about openness, for me it was openness about recording the circle, and it really resonates for me what everyone has been saying about that openness can just kind of slowly. I guess there's two versions of openness that I'm seeing. One is the openness of recording the calls, and then the other is how we slowly develop our own openness.
So you're saying that it is come to you. You have come to the conclusion that there are probably two kinds of openness here, one that you are referring to, and then the one that we've all been sort of talking about. You are referring more to the recording of these sessions when you said openness, but yet for the most part, when we've been talking in amongst the group today, we've been talking about openness in a different sense, in the sense that you know. Making ourselves vulnerable and sharing and trusting and sharing things that we might not otherwise share.
Yeah, it's they're both part of the same, but there are two aspects. Yeah, there's two aspects. There's the For me, it's important that the circle is recorded and made publicly available. That's kind of where I want to put my energy, because some people want circles that are not recorded and they're totally private. And so I'm really looking at a recorded circle that becomes like an educational tool that we can show other people what the process is. So that's kind of the one aspect of openness that that's really important to me.
Okay, so you're saying that you feel very strongly that it's quite important that we do record these sessions and make them available to other people to see, because it's a tool as a part of the educational process. And though some people have expressed that they may prefer that these sessions in some of your other groups not be recorded, that to you that's kind of a minimum bottom line necessity.
For myself, my personal involvement is all.
Oh, okay. For your personal involvement, not so much for the best interests of the movement as a whole.
Yeah, It's that I can imagine people who need that confidentiality as a starting point could have like a private circle with that's not recorded, and that maybe they'll get kind of the confidence and the grounding to be able to take the next step to become public. But the people should start where they are. Like I've seen where some organizations, it's like you're kind of like pushed to be open, and I'm really against that. It's like that everybody should feel really comfortable about being as open as they feel comfortable with. There should be no coercion to make people feel uncomfortable and be more open than they really want to be.
Okay, you feel like maybe some other organizations you've been a part of, there's been a real push for openness when people weren't comfortable with it, but you think that that they should be recorded, but people should just be as open as they can be, and as open as they're willing to be, and just sort of let it progress organically. You didn't use those exact words, but I think that was the point you were trying to make.
Yeah, that people aren't coerced in being open. There should be no coercion.
Right. That there should be no coercion. Nobody should be coerced into being more open than they want to be.
Yeah, that's it. And then that the openness develops, just out of kind of the trust, as people become more trusting, that they just reveal what they feel comfortable with.
And as the trust grows, naturally the openness grows, and that we should just let that all happen naturally.
And for me, the only part is to be involved in a circle. I would like the circle to be recorded, because that's important to me, because that's where I want to put my energy, is recording the circles and making them publicly available so others can kind of learn. And because that's what I'm trying to foster, is that educational component.
Okay. So to you, it's very important. You feel like you're investing your time and energy into these sessions in large part due to the fact that you feel so strongly that they should be made public, so that people can view them and learn from them and use them as a tool.
Yeah, just where my involvement is I'd like it to be public. That's
your involvement. That's
yeah.
What your involvement is that you want it to be public.
Yeah, and if somebody doesn't want to be public, then they could have a circle where that's not public.
Right. And if somebody wants to be a part of a circle and doesn't want it to be public, they can do that. But that's probably not going to be one that you're involved in, it sounds like.
Exactly. A nice addition, yes. So thank you. I feel like really heard.
That was being an empath right there. I was coming out with stuff that you didn't even say.
It spoke to my heart, though.
Okay, good.
Hey,
Thank you, thank you.
Can I just break in brutally for the moment?
Yes.
Because Thomas has to leave in 5 minutes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so I think what would be nice, if it's okay with all of you, is that we maybe go on with this conversation next time, because I don't feel that we finished the whole thing yet, but that we do take a moment now for everybody, maybe not to reflect on each other, but just to share for half a minute how this process was now that we've just done it. Would that be okay for you?
Mm-hmm. Works for me.
Sure.
Thank you for that.
Shelley, is that okay for you too?
Yeah, that's fine. In fact, I was going to say that I feel like this is maybe a little more efficient, having one speaker and one person reflect on that speaker instead of having all three people reflect on that speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we're able to cover a little more ground a little more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's important or not, I don't know, but it seems like it.
And in terms of, what we're practicing with each other, so the reflection in itself, aside from what we are talking about, how do you feel about that?
I think that's a good exercise. It's good practice. It's a good thing to feel comfortable with doing here, and then taking it into the real world with you, and it'll be easier to do out in the real world after practicing it here. And I think that's the whole point.
Thank you.
So that's good.
And Shelley and Winnie are both completely frozen for me, but Thomas is still moving. Thomas, would you?
Well, to answer the same questions, I think that the process is a good one. I have done exercises like this in the past before, active listening, reflective listening, and that sort of thing. And I appreciated the videos that Edwin sent around. I watched them all. They were quite good. I enjoyed it. I saw myself in one of them. And I do have this question, though. My only challenge with reflective, active listening that I experienced in the past, and even in this process, is that it will be easy for us to mistaken that mechanical process for empathy. When someone reflects back to me exactly what I have said, that may or may not be empathy, in my view. So I wonder about that as a process for us to go through on a regular basis. I think there may be other ways that perhaps we can do that will help us explore other areas of empathy. So the reflective listening process is a good one. It's one that I subscribe to, one I want to be better at, but it is also one that is mechanical unless we can develop other qualities that will help us be empathetic.
Interesting.
Well,
And
I have a real sense of ease about it. It's like I really enjoy the way it slowed down the conversation, and I find it really helps me when Shelley's speaking or Thomas is speaking. It's getting reflected. I'm hearing it kind of like twice, and it's like it deepens my connection with what the person has said. And that kind of gives me a deeper sense of connection, a deeper sense of ease. So I could imagine even having a reflective circle on your question, Lily. I mean, right? It's like the whole session is just on the nature, exploring all the stuff that Thomas was talking about, maybe the problems with it, that the process itself can be used to explore the process, itself, kind of and I think it's a real baseline for, a tool that we can really build on and kind of start building other, once we really get it down, that we can start adding components on top of it.
Yeah, I'd like to comment on what you just said. I agree with you, everything you said about the process, that it is nice to hear it twice. That means that I'm really at least getting intellectually what is being said. And I think it is a useful process for that reason. I just don't want us to, or at least for myself, I don't want us to think that that in and of itself is empathy. It may be, it may not be. That's all. Mm-hmm. And I do have to leave, and I thank you all very much for setting this up, and Edwin, all the hard work you did to get Shelley in here. I'm sure she appreciates that. And it also helped me understand where you're coming from, Edwin, with regard to the purpose of these circles, so that I can better contribute to that down the road. See you later.
See you next
Thomas.
week.
Thank you.
Bye.
I'm gonna switch off my video and see if I can get you back, because you're both frozen. I feel alone. Oh.
I can hang you up and...
Shelley is there again.
Oh,
Oh, that's interesting.
Am I moving it? Oh.
No.
You're not. No.
The other thing is I can hang you up and call you right back. That sometimes
Okay, then.
cleared up. Am I back yet, or do you need
No.
that? Okay, I'll hang
would
you
like-
up and...
I'm yellow now, but at least I see
yellow
you.
now. Why are you so yellow now?
I don't know, it's the light. It's these saving bulbs, Nice for the environment, but they turn out yellow on the screen. I don't know why.
So, Lily, you're the only one who didn't get to your 30 seconds there to reflect on
Thank you.
the
Thank you.
process.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I noticed that I also found it very pleasant, the flow of the conversation, especially if we keep it in a flow. I felt also sometimes that somebody had too much to say before being heard, and then it became very difficult to keep on in the flow of the conversation together. So then we became very technical about, did I hear everything? Did I forget something? And so that's something I noticed. And I also noticed that I got a bit lazy at some point, where I thought, well, I missed out on that one, but I'll hear it in the reflection anyway. So I'm not sure that's the point of what we're doing. I have to agree also, I find it very pleasant, and I think that it's a very nice tool for exploring empathy together. But I also agree with Thomas that it might not be tapping into the full range of what empathy can be. So I also felt, oh yeah, it's interesting to give it more attention than we've done in the empathy circles so far, but I wouldn't turn the empathy circles only into this type of process. That's what I thought so far.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing is, we could actually, I would find it interesting to actually talk about the process itself, like I said, where you could be reflected about what you were just saying, that you're wanting kind of more. There's something else that you're wanting. You wouldn't want it just being reflective, but you'd like kind of some other components to it.
Yeah.
So we could actually have a circle about that if you or Thomas wanted to bring that up or something.
Yeah, I think next time was my turn. I would be happy to bring it up and have a circle about what is it that we feel is missing in this process, having this process going on, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then that way we can actually develop it. We can start looking at what is it we're getting, what are we missing, what's the next level we would want to add to it, what would
Exactly.
contribute. Because I loved it. I could see this for several rounds
Yes.
to
I
really
agree.
integrate. Because for me, it was really with Thomas. He was starting to get his questions in there, and I
Yeah.
could viscerally feel a stab in the.
Yeah.
It was like, he's jabbing me with those questions,
Yeah.
and then I
Yeah.
could just reflect back. So and it was like I felt a little nervous about it because there was a little contention there. But I could just speak to the contention and hear my contention
Yeah.
be reflected back, and that kind of
Yeah.
got me settled and more easy. And it's
Yeah.
kind of it's creating the pattern, because what happens I've seen in reflective listening is that if you do it for a while, it starts setting the context
Mm-hmm.
for the group going forward. So you kind of like embed it, and then
Mm-hmm.
at some point the dialogue becomes almost like this freestyle dialogue more without and then sometimes if contention happens, then you can say, well, let's shift back into slowing down,
Yeah.
and then but you've got it. It's kind of like first gear, I guess would be a metaphor, that the reflective listening is first gear. You get up to third gear, things start going back bad, you can always shift back to first gear.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And Shelley, I found you so bloody competent in
I know.
reflective listening. I mean, really, I felt so heard, and I saw that, or Edwin felt heard, and
I did. It
so
was
I just
amazing.
wanted to say, thank you for listening.
Oh, well,
Mhm.
it was my pleasure, and thank you for listening too, because yeah, in our crazy lives, we don't always get listened to as much as we would like to be, do we?
No.
And people might hear us or they might not hear us, but if they're really listening or not is a whole nother thing. So
Yeah.
I think that this exercise, in addition to being good for practicing and discovering how to be more empathetic, probably is also good for our self-esteem and our ego and our sense of self-worth.
Mm.
Because we're being heard.
Yeah,
Yeah, feels good.
it feels good. It makes you feel credible and worth listening to. So
Yeah.
I
I
am
would love
happy do
to
my part.
explore this next time.
Yeah.
Because this is one aspect of it, and I think I could also go on or add to what I'm missing in terms of empathy in it. That there's something beyond that being reflected, and I think that's what Thomas also felt. So I think it would be very nice to do this type of circle next time about that topic. I think we can all learn from that, and explore it together.
Yeah, I noticed one thing that just popped into my head a little while ago was that when I gave a story of when I had the option of either sharing a success or a challenge in feeling empathetic, I shared my story, I shared a challenge, and Thomas also shared a challenge, and nobody shared a success story.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was thinking, well, maybe it seems a little elementary, but maybe it would be good for us to share some success stories, because you can feel good about the success stories and other people can hear them, and maybe that'll trigger in them the ability to recognize their own success stories. Whereas maybe they didn't realize before that what they were doing was being successfully empathetic.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great. We just have more circles to go, we're not finished yet.
Yeah. Can be looking. You could do the next one after Lily and do a success one.
Yeah, that would be great.
Sure.
Great.
Nice.
All right.
It gives me really an energy, you know, being together like that and working on it and working through it and addressing it together. It really
Good.
brings energy. Yeah.
May I ask you both a question? I posted on causes through Facebook, I posted a pledge, and it had to do with parenting and encouraging empathy in our children. And there hasn't been that many people who have signed it yet. And I was thinking about trying to figure out how to put it up on your empathy page there, Edwin, but I wasn't sure which one because you have so many. Or if I should create a sub page or something, I don't know. But does that ring a bell to you? Do you remember seeing that at all?
Yeah, if you wanted to post it, you know, it's to the Empathy Center page. You can. I don't know if you. I don't see that it was posted there. Was it?
It wasn't. So I can just post it to the Empathy Center page.
Yeah, I just post a link to it. You know, kind of write up. You know, just have a short comment about it. Put the link in there, and then anybody can click on it and follow
Okay,
the link.
I will do that.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'll sign it.
Thank you.
I'll sign it too. When I noticed, Shelley, maybe that's why I moved out a bit, is that the amount of posts were so many that I started to move away from it again. You know, with that was your event going on. So maybe it's something to see, you know, what's optimal in terms of reaching people, but not over asking or over. Because then we see it on the movement page too, that people just don't want to get all these notifications anymore, right? But then they also miss whatever we have that is really movement related.
Did I put a lot of posts on the empathy page?
No, not on the empathy page. On your own, I think you had an event going on.
Yeah, I had a fundraiser, which finally ended.
Exactly.
Yay, yesterday. So
and did it go well?
12-day long fundraiser.
Did it go well?
Yeah, I think it did. It you know, it could have gone better, of course, but it also could have gone considerably not as well as it did. So for the first go, I'm happy with the results.
Good.
Because I didn't know what to expect.
The hour to actually close the circle. I haven't done the mirroring, so I'm still recording. So I have one. The this is my mirror. Let's see. You get a little antennae. There we go. Okay. That'll be the other one. Is we can thank you. We can start expanding on the person's mirror. So that's the official close of Circle 1. I will stop there.